Welcome back to the West Georgia Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, Mason Taylor, joined by my co-host, my producer, and my father, Mark Taylor. This is the Week 2 preview. So I want to start off by asking you an off-topic question.
Oh.
If you could have any sauce for the rest of your life, anything to dip fries in, when you have chicken wings, this is the only thing you can dip it in. It's either no sauce or this sauce. What are you going with?
Like, what sauce could I not live without?
If you had to have one, if this could be the only sauce you would ever, like anytime you ever wanted sauce, this would be the only sauce you'd get for the rest of time.
Yeah. Look, Tabasco, y'all. I'm from Louisiana, from a Cajun family. If you're listening, shout out to everybody down there. Tabasco, I put on everything. They're not sponsoring us. They maybe should. If you want to, if you're at Tabasco and you're listening to this somehow on social media or YouTube or a podcast platform, please consider sponsoring. No, I put this on eggs. People, they look at me weird when I say that, but that's normal. It kicks it up a little bit.
That's normal.
It's kind of like people put salsa. I put it in all kinds of stuff when I'm cooking. I put it in actually my ketchup.
Weird.
Whenever I mix it in with the ketchup, it's like a sweet and spicy type thing.
So weird.
All right, what would you not put it on?
Another condiment.
Yeah. So what would you put it on? Like, give me something that maybe I would never even. I don't like. Is there anything I haven't put it on?
Chicken flavored ramen.
Chicken flavored ramen noodles. All right. Well, you got me on that one.
I said what I said.
What is your favorite concession food at the games? What's your go-to?
To start off, I always get a hot dog.
It used to be those big pickles, those big giant dill pickles.
Yeah, but I don't start off with dill.
And then you would eat, like, when you were a young kid, you would eat, like, 2 or 3 of them and make your stomach hurt.
I start off with a hot dog, and then I start off with a hot dog, usually like a Coke or a Sprite or something like that, maybe a water. Just depends on how hydrated I am that day. Then I usually end up getting towards Sprite and Skittles and pickles. That's usually for the rest of the night. I usually feel really crappy at the end of the game.
Well, let's give a shout out to Kilton, Georgia. Sugar. But look, I got to say this. They used to have those big smoked jumbo dogs. And then now they're regular dogs, which I get. But if y'all are listening, if y'all could please, at some point, I don't know what we have to do, get back to those jumbo dogs. Those big smoked ones. Those were really good.
I remember the first time, I remember when we went to Dalton for that one game.
Yeah.
I remember that was the first time I've ever seen a concession stand selling Takis. I was in love.
The chips.
I was in love when I saw them selling Takis.
I'm trying to think well, I know the worst one that we've went to. I'll spare
County.
That one.
Douglas County by far. Douglas County by far. I mean, it's not only the fact that
I don't know what we're doing with that one, but yeah, okay.
Well, it's not only the fact that it's not good.
See, now when we play them, they're gonna want to whoop up on us even more because they're like, look, Mason's on there talking trash about our concessions.
Dear Douglas County Tigers,
here we go.
You haven't beat us in 60 years. You're sore about that? It's okay.
Smoke already. We're not
got
even
spanked
5 minutes into the show.
You got spanked last year at your own home after your coach ran his mouth in the locker room, and they put it on camera.
Here we go.
Very funny.
So
and then not only that, but there's only one way to get into your stadium.
How did we start with concessions?
You have to go through airport security to get in there.
Oh, here we go.
And at the concession stands, it's not good. The bathrooms aren't good. And then when you're at the concession stands, you have to wait 20 years to get something.
All right, well, let's see what they do on the field. All right. So, yeah, I agree.
I don't like Douglas County.
That's not one of my favorite concessions. But,
I do not like Douglas County.
I don't know if it was East Coweta. No, it wasn't East Coweta. We went to somewhere. Maybe it was a regional
East Coweta
game.
had those popcorn, like the popcorn bags, like you put in the microwave. Remember that? And that's what they give you.
That's right. They had the pop bags.
I like that.
That's a little different. I felt like I've been at home. Okay. But that was a little weird, though.
I don't know. I like concession
Like they were in the bags that you pop a popcorn in a microwave.
I liked it.
Not a popcorn machine.
It was cold, so the butter like cooled down quickly, and then you could lick it off your finger. I love licking butter.
I love
butter.
I don't know. There was one that had some like really kicked up nachos or something. That was pretty good. So I've got a big surprise, and Mason didn't know I was going to do this. But I want to give a shout out to Mason and congratulate Mason because as a result of the 2025 kickoff show that you did, it got into the hands. I sent it out to a couple people like Coach Folds, who's over the tennis program at Carrollton, and she sent it to, I think, Coach Larry Evans, and then eventually got in the hands of Matt Skinner. And so all very impressed with what you had accomplished in your knowledge and just the way you commentated on the preview, the kickoff for the whole season for all 9 teams. But Matt Skinner reached out to you and has asked you now to be in the booth to help with production and maybe some color commentating or maybe some opportunities there with this game and then going forward to be a part of what Carrollton's doing, either home and away games. So I'm excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw it in you from the age of 6, and I'm going to post that picture, by the way, when he was at the College Football Hall of Fame calling games, even at the early age. But, man, that is a big, big deal. This week, week 2, we're going into preview for the second games coming in on Friday night here in West Georgia. All 9 games should be playing, all 9 teams. Right. But if you have not caught Mason's matchups episode, please go on and check that out because that is some great follow-up on the games from the first week, but it actually talks about his predictions, how close he was, how far away he was. There were some surprises, actually. I was not expecting some of that as well, but you covered it very well in explaining why those were different than you thought they were going to be, or maybe even closer than you thought they were going to be, or the ones that were right on. So this week, too, we're going to be starting to just jump right into the games. We have all 9 playing. So, Mason, what's your take on this coming week?
So, in previous episodes, I've started with Bowden, and I've gone in alphabetical order. So I'm going to start with Villa Rica this time. I'm going to switch it up.
You're going to go backwards?
Right.
Okay, let's do it.
So with Villa Rica, they're coming off an 11-point loss to Troup County on the road. They're taking on a Northgate Vikings team, and they're going to be at home, so it's going to be their home opener. But Northgate, they're coming off of an upset on the road at Stars Mill. Stars Mill is a region rival of Central, and Stars Mill's a pretty decent team. So Northgate coming off a big upset there. I believe it was.
Do you like this
27-21.
environment at Villa Rica though? Do you feel like this second week's going to be? They're going to show out. They're going to show up for their team as far as the fans. They're going to be some energy there. Okay, because they're going to need that.
I sure hope so.
Okay,
it is their home opener, so that's a big deal. All right. But for key players, I'll start off with that. For Villa Rica, obviously Matthew Eubanks has to be kind of at the top of that list. He's a junior. And in his first start ever, throws for 352 yards and 4 touchdowns. And against a Troup County team who's not they're a legitimate team. So he had an outstanding performance. Another guy I'm going to talk about is Max Garfield. He's a senior, plays both sides of the ball. I think he had a couple tackles, but really he shined offensively. Out of those 352 yards, he had 182 of them, and he had 3 touchdowns, and he only had 5 receptions. So there was only 2 times that he caught the ball that he didn't get in the end zone. So he was a real big weapon for Eubanks. Obviously, you have Kamari Humes, who coming off of last year. Obviously, I don't know the stats for him because Villa Rica hasn't posted on Max Preps. But Kamari Humes, obviously, he's a game changer coming off that edge at 6'2", 225. He's a senior. And then Luke Hale, senior presence at linebacker. And then also Tayshawn Thornton and Malachi Dunson, kind of your defensive line leaders. For Northgate, you got Woody Shattini, sophomore running back. Last week against Stars Mill, he had 252 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. I mean, just an absolute bell cow. Travion Gill, he's undersized. He's only 5'7". He's also a sophomore wide receiver. But he had 88 yards off of 2 receptions from last week. Bryson Davies, senior linebacker, had 20 tackles against Stars Mill. Michael Jackson, not the pop star, rest in peace, but the Northgate Viking player. He's coming off of a sack last week. He had a sack. He's I think that was maybe their only sack of the day. And then Ledger Clements, their sophomore quarterback, and he's young, but he took care of business against Stars Mill. So coming into the keys to success for Villa Rica, obviously you're going to need to ride that hot hand of Eubanks to Garfield. Obviously, when you're going for 352, 180 is to one person. 3 of your 4 touchdowns are to one person. I mean, you got to keep that connection going. You got to keep that hot. Win in the trenches, I mean, this is pretty basic. Just offensively and defensively being able to control the line of scrimmage is going to be key. And Northgate has a good offensive line. They have a big offensive line. They have a good defensive line. They have some linebackers who can come off the edge. So they're not that's a team you're going to want to win in the trenches with. you got to pressure Ledger Clements. He showed flashes last week. I believe he still did throw an interception, even though he threw a touchdown. So you're going to want to pressure him. He's still young. He's got great size, 6'2", 190. But when you're a sophomore and it's only I'm going to assume it's only his second start ever, but it's only the second game of the season too. And it's your second game on the road. That's a huge deal. And then a balanced offense. Obviously, Woody Shattini. I've mentioned how big of a week he had last week. You got to stop him early. If you can't stop him early or at all, it's going to be a long night for the Wildcats. For Northgate, obviously feed Woody Shattini. I'm not going to say too much about that. That's pretty self-explanatory. Defensive discipline, obviously Bryson Davies coming off of 20 tackles. I mean, he's the leader of that defense. I think it's pretty apparent, and they're going to need to take care of Villa Rica's explosive playmakers because that's what Villa Rica's offense thrives on. For example, Max Garfield. And also quarterback efficiency, Ledger Clements obviously threw that pick last week. I don't know the ratio of completion percentage, but he's got to be efficient, and that's for any game, but especially in this one. And then the front seven push, obviously you got Michael Jackson, the guy I haven't mentioned, Jet Clark. They're going to need to generate pressure on Eubanks because Eubanks carved up that Troop County defense last week, and so I mean we know what we know what he's capable of, and so Northgate's going to have to do what they need to do to shut him down early. I think it's going to be a battle of Villa Rica's air attack against Northgate's power run. I mean, by the stats alone, you can just tell that's kind of how it's going to shape out to be. I think.
Will Villa Rica stop the run?
Oof, I can't. I don't know. I think if Shattini dominates, and I think if Northgate can control the time of possession, I think they can hang with Villa Rica. But I think if Eubanks and Garfield, if they have a week like they did last week, it could really tilt in Villa Rica's favor, especially since Villa Rica is at home.
Okay.
But I will say this: my prediction for this game is I do have Northgate winning, but 24-21. I think it's going to be.
You have Northgate winning at home against Villa Rica. First game in this stadium.
Yeah, I have Northgate winning on the road by 3 points. I think it's going to be. I do think it's going to be a close one, but I think they can just pull ahead just slightly.
Look, and if you are any fan, you're a player, coach, anybody that's associated with Villa Rica High School, look, I'm pulling for you. I don't know what Mason's doing over here.
Well, look.
I do not agree with that one. I don't know. I may have to check your cup. I don't know what you're drinking in there. But I think Villa Rica's got this one.
Don't listen to him.
Right.
I'm not.
We'll see.
I'm not saying I don't want them to win, but I don't think.
So when we come back from Monday's show, we'll see who's right.
I hope they win. I hope they pleasantly surprise me like Haralson County did last week.
They will.
Temple. This is a funky one. They're coming off of a 69-40 win.
This is one of your biggest surprises last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the score ended up being lopsided. What you thought it was going to be.
They ran up 69 points, but they gave up 40.
But you thought it was going to be what?
Ooh, I think I said it was going to be 31-14 or something like
39-14.
31-14.
31.
Well,
yeah.
still,
okay.
I mean, I still didn't have either team getting above 35.
All right.
So that was just wonky. But for Temple, they're facing Clarkston. Clarkston just got their butts beat by the Hurt County Braves.
Let's go, Hurt County Braves.
No surprise there that Clarkston lost that bad. They're such a bad team. But for Temple, their key players, well, I'm going to go with Clarkston because there's only two that I have listed based on last week's performance. Shaka Shakuru, we covered him. 5'11", 185 senior running back. He's the focal point of that offense. And then you have their senior quarterback, Damian Hunter. He's going to need to manage the game, protect the football, just do everything to somewhat keep him in the game because, I mean, they're not going to have as much talent. They don't have nearly as much talent as Temple does. And then the defensive front, I kind of just put this as a whole because there's not really anyone specifically I'd like to touch on. They're undersized, and they're going to be tested by Temple's run game.
It's going to be an easy one for Temple.
I think so. For Temple, speaking their key players, JoJo Jones, real name Sir Joe Jones, but I'm going to call him JoJo. Junior running back. It's his first year being the starting running back. Obviously, last year was behind C.J. Gray, who had a heck of a year last year, but he's the workhorse. Last week against McNair, he had 150 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Jaden McDaniel, senior athlete, he had 112 yards on the ground, 44 yards in the air, and that was a 44-yard touchdown reception.
And go back and watch the Monday show. We actually highlight Jaden on that show as one of your standouts.
And so he can get it done from anywhere, offensively, defensively, in the air, on the ground, doesn't matter. Hudson Nix, junior linebacker, and he also plays a little bit of running back. He's the defensive leader, had 11 tackles last week. He's going to be key in shutting down that run game for Clarkston. Jackson Gribben, senior quarterback, he's an efficient passer. He's dangerous on the ground as well, so he's kind of a balanced threat. And then the defensive front, I'm just going to name some names. I'm not going to go too deep into anything about them. TJ Young, Jack Jordan, DeAntoine Patterson, Sir Dario Ferguson, and Marco Chandler. They all have size. They all have depth up front. So I think that's going to overwhelm that O-line. Speaking of, like, DeAntoine Patterson, he's like, 6'1", 300? I mean, that's a big boy right there. I mean, not necessarily in stature, but in just pure size. He's huge.
I need to make sure I get the concessions before he does.
No, that's not right.
That's not right. You're right.
But keys to success for Clarkston, they're obviously in this underdog role. Ball security and field position, it's so important when you're already coming into the game not the favorite, and you're in a position like Clarkston where you're not really good at all. You cannot give them easy field, like easy yardage. You can't give them just opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. You got to capitalize.
How does a team like that stay emotionally and mentally tough in the game, knowing that you may be totally outside or definitely outperformed? How do you stay in the game and not give up?
Well, I think everybody's different, right? Everybody reacts to everyone reacts to adversity different. Not everybody's gonna lose and be okay with that. Not everybody's gonna lose and get upset about it. So I think the coaching's gonna have to do a lot leadership-wise to make sure that their team morale's up, because team morale can only go so far depending on how you perform.
You can't go into the game with the mindset that
you're going to lose.
Like,
yeah,
we're going to get smacked around.
Right.
It's like, what's the use?
But
you can't do that.
But you can't come in delusional. You can't come in being like, oh yeah, we're about to mess them up, and come in cocky and just arrogant and all kinds of that stuff. But they got messed around by Heard County. I think they had it's not a reality check because they knew that where they were.
That'll hurt your feelings.
Yeah. But they played Temple last year. They know what to expect. I think it's just they were in this position last year. They didn't win a single game last year, so they know how to handle it. Hopefully they can get better in the future, because I don't have anything against Clarkston. They're not Douglas County.
Okay.
But anyways, they're gonna need to establish their run game early. Quarterback's got to be confident. When you're an underdog, you got to have confidence, and especially when you're in that key of a position. And then you got to have a bend but don't break defense. And that's really all I got to say about that. For Temple, dominate the trenches. They got Dom Nicolosi, Ryan Self. I can't stress enough how good of a duo they are on that offensive line. They're both 6'4". One's over 300 pounds. One's getting close to 300 pounds. So they should dominate the line of scrimmage. They have an explosive run game. Between JoJo Jones and Jaden McDaniel alone, that's 260 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns last week just on the ground. Got to take pressure off of Jackson Gribben. And defensive playmakers, you got guys like TJ Armstrong and Brian Bowman, and even though they're young, they combined for 3 interceptions last week. So they know how to force turnovers, and against a not so good team in Clarkston, that should be pretty easy for them this week. Additional notes I have, obviously Temple looks far superior in terms of talent, in terms of size, in terms of execution. Their offense has multiple scoring options, while Clarkston is really they're kind of one-dimensional or just have one player. Clarkston's best chance to shorten the game is going to be to slow the pace and hope that Temple turns the ball over. And then Temple's depth on the line plus explosive skill players should tilt the matchup heavily. Yeah, again, not too much to say about that. And so my score predictions: Temple winning 56-14.
Ooh, I need Temple to be actually do well. They did strong numbers on this first game. So
right.
I'd like to see them to continue to do it. I want everybody to do well, of course, but I just think they have the potential, especially with some of those standout players we talked about last week.
I think they have the potential to be a top. I think that right now, and this might be a hot take.
Uh-oh.
This might be a hot take. A lot of y'all are going to look at that first game and y'all aren't going to believe me. But I think Temple's a top 10 team in 1A Division I.
Ooh, save that.
Now, I don't think that they're not top 5. I think that they're just probably at that 10 or 9 spot, but I think that they are a top 10 team right now.
Like a sneak in? Okay.
I mean, that's just me.
I like it.
Next one, we have an out-of-state battle between the Mount Zion Eagles and the Ramburn Bulldogs.
Yes, sir. Border war.
Obviously, these two teams both got interviewed at the Carroll County Performing Arts Center, or whatever you want to call it.
Media Day.
At Media Day, and Ramburn started it off. I did watch that. I was pretty impressed with their coach.
How did they even get included in the Media Days? Maybe somebody explain that to me.
I think
was that the first year? Or they always do that.
I think it was their first year, but
okay.
I think just because it's fairly close to Bowden,
sure.
So I think they just why not include them?
Okay.
I wouldn't. I don't include them.
We welcome them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll see what they do.
Key players for Mount Zion: Xavier Buckner. Not really much to say about that. I mean, he's pretty self-explanatory. Knox Israel, junior quarterback, linebacker. And I'm going to kind of blow through these because I've touched on some of these before. If there's any stats,
go back
I'll
and watch the actual preview, the season kickoff, and then we go very much in depth for those.
Senior linebacker Jaden Ackey. You have junior safety and wide receiver Keziah Ackey. I don't know if they're related, probably. But then also, I didn't put him on here. I actually brain farted and forgot to put him on here. But running back Rashad Montgomery. I'm actually pretty high on him, to be honest with you, especially after that Week 1 performance against Chattahoochee County. For Ramburn, now this is an interesting name. Senior wide receiver and linebacker, he's only 5'10", 145. Crimson Champion.
Crimson Champion?
Crimson Champion.
That is an Alabama
yeah, that's an
given
Alabama name right there.
I can't even say Roll Tide. My family in Louisiana right now will disown me. And Tabasco will not give me a sponsorship if I say Roll. I can't even finish it.
You already said it just a minute ago. So, Crimson's a true do-it-all player. He's a runner. He's a receiver. He's a defender. He's going to need a big night. Obviously, he's a little undersized. Really, their whole team is undersized except for one player on this list. The next one I'm going to talk about is Aiden Whitman. Not to be confused with Aiden Jackson, who I'm also going to talk about, but Aiden Whitman, sophomore running back and defensive back. He's young but explosive. He averaged nearly 8 carries per yard as a freshman. So he could be a difference maker in that running game. Aiden Jackson, junior safety, 5'10", 150, kind of the same size as Crimson Champion. He's a physical defender. He's going to be key in that passing attack, or stopping it, I mean. And then senior quarterback and defensive back Creed Young, 6'3". So he's kind of the outlier there in terms of size. He's going to need to show composure. Obviously, last year was a very, very turnover-heavy junior year for him. But his legs are going to need to be just as important as his arms in this game against Mount Zion. So the keys to success for Mount Zion, first, air attack efficiency. Obviously, Knox Israel's got to be able to be reliable through the air and complete passes that need to be completed, put it right on the money. But he's also got to be able to rely on guys like Caleb Sims and Xavier Buckner to catch the ball and do what they need to do after the catch. They need to control the line of scrimmage. They got Abram Morrow, Brady Denny, a young Cody Lanning. I mean, those guys are anchoring the trenches. They're going to be key in run game and protecting Israel. And then defensive pressure. Creed Young has struggled with interceptions. He threw 13 interceptions last season, so forcing him into bad throws. It's going to create opportunities. You got Keziah Ackey. You got Jaden Cheeks. Those are guys in the secondary for Mount Zion that are going to be key in forcing turnovers. For Ramburn, balanced ground game. Crimson Champion, Aiden Whitman in the backfield. You got Ramburn needs to lean on its rushing attack, and they do that anyway. They're a very run-centric team. So they got to do that also, not only just because that's their game plan, but to take pressure off of Creed Young. Mistake-free football, obviously. You don't, again, turnovers, you can't have them. And then defensive discipline, Ramburn secondary, led by Aiden Jackson. They're going to have to be sharp against that passing attack because Knox Israel is more than likely going to carve them up if not. So they got to need a double-team Buckner or double-team Caleb Sims or do whatever they got to do to disrupt the timing on those routes.
Okay.
So again, I think turnovers would be the swing factor. I think Mount Zion has a more polished passing game. Ramburn leans on the ground. Mount Zion's experience at skill positions give them the edge offensively. And then physicality in the trenches may determine momentum. I think if Mount Zion's size up front holds, Ramburn's backs could struggle to find daylight.
This could be some interesting energy in this stadium this week.
Right.
No?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Obviously, on paper, Mount Zion is favored. I think there's no question about that.
But you don't see it as being there's a surprise upset.
There's just a stronger team. No.
Okay.
I think it's actually going to be like last year. They went on the road to Ranburne. And I believe they only beat Ranburne by like 10 points or something like that. It was close. I remember listening.
They're going to come with a fight.
I don't think they're going to come as much of a fight as they did last year. I think. Here's my score prediction. I think Mount Zion wins 34-7. I think it's going to be not nearly as close as last year. I think it's just a different Ranburne team. I think it's a different Mount Zion team. So that's my prediction for Mount Zion. Next, we're going to talk about the team that's pretty popular right now, the Heard County Braves.
Yep.
The number 7 team, according to GPP Sports rankings, the number 7 team in 1A Division 1. And this might be a hot take right here. I think Heard County is the second best team in 1A Division 1. I think the only team that's better than them right now is Toombs County.
Yeah.
Other than them, I don't really know a team right now that is shown or proven that they are better than Heard County. Obviously, key players for Heard County, Ethan Tisdale. There's no question why he's a key player. Quarterback who can just get it done in the air, on the
His name's everywhere.
on the ground. Oh yeah, and it should be for good reason. Zayden Moreland had 2 touchdowns last week. He's a reliable red zone target. Darius Coleman averaged 25 yards per carry last week against Clarkston. He can break big plays at the running back position. And then Jackson White, senior defensive tackle, he had 3 tackles for loss last week. And then senior defensive lineman Max Lasser, he had 4 tackles for loss last week. Another thing is, shout out to Jackson White's younger brother, Tatum White, who's a freshman, 6'5", 275, by the way, as a 14-year-old, which is insane. He just got his first offer by Liberty.
Yeah, that's right. Congratulations, by the way.
Yep. Key players for South Atlanta, which is who the Heard County Braves are playing. Daquan Alexander, junior running back and wide receiver. He's the most proven playmaker on the offense. He's got to get at least 15 touches if South Atlanta wants any chance of winning this game. Caleb Yarl, senior tight end and defensive end. He's a two-way weapon who can move the chains and apply pressure. Amaru Hawkins, senior linebacker, hard-hitting linebacker. He's got great size too, 6'1", 220. And he's going to be key in stopping Darius Coleman. Junior defensive lineman Tyron Clark, another big boy, 6'4", 260. He's got to be able to collapse that pocket, but when you do that, Tisdale's going to run. So
yeah.
That's
I love it
when
these boys come into West Georgia, they find out.
Right. And then senior defense back Kai Mims, he's a veteran leader. He's going to be key in that passing defense to stop those deep threats to guys like Brody Buck Cofield and Zaylen Moreland.
You pointed him out last week.
Who? Brody Buck Cofield?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm high on a lot of people that, and I think he doesn't get a big rap because of his size. You know, he's only 5'10", 150 or maybe 155, so he's just not a big kid, but he gets it done.
I got it.
Key to success for Heard County, protect Ethan Tisdale. He was actually nearly perfect last week. Completed 13 of 14 passes for 237 yards, 4 touchdowns. Obviously, if you keep the pocket clean, he's going to get the job done. He showed it last week. Got to win at the line of scrimmage, which is pretty self-explanatory with the guys that Heard County has on the line with their size. It's pretty feasible. Got to spread the ball. You got guys like Zayden Moreland, Brody Buck Cofield, Rudy Smith, who actually just transferred in from Trinity Christian. You got guys like Pope Phillips. I mean, these guys, they have all kinds of weapons that they can use, and they should be able to use them. And you got Ethan Tisdale distributing the ball, so that's perfect. And then you got to stay disciplined on defense. South Atlanta's offense can be tricky. They like mixing Daquan Alexander and Caleb Yarl in the run game. So Heard's linebackers got to stay disciplined, and then also penalties as well. You can't have penalties. South Atlanta, they're going to need to limit explosives from Tisdale, which is a very tall task to do. You got to establish the run early with guys like Daquan Alexander. You got to keep that defensive line honest. You got to rely on the defensive front, guys like Tyron Clark and Amaru Hawkins. They got to win those battles in the trenches. And then you got to create turnovers. Guys like Kai Mims and another name I haven't mentioned, Jamario White, they got to be opportunistic in coverage. So my final thoughts, I think this game is a contrast of strengths. I think Heard County's, they got an explosive passing offense, but it's going against a South Atlanta very experienced defense. So I think if Heard's offensive line and if Heard's offensive line gives Tisdale time, I think the Braves could put up points quickly. But I think for South Atlanta, the key will be keeping it close. You got to grind that clock out with Daquan Alexander. You got to hope that your defense can force turnovers against Heard County. Now, this one's going to be this is controversial right here. And I'm gonna say what I said for the Central game. For the Central game, I said it's either gonna be a blowout. Central's gonna blow them out, or Central's gonna have a really close game. I think it's another thing here. I think Heard County's either gonna blow South Atlanta out of the water from the start, or I think it's gonna be what I'm gonna say. And I'm not saying that I think it's gonna be this necessarily, because I do think it could be a blowout. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here and kind of try to shake things up. Give me Heard County 21-17.
Ooh, that is a closer one.
Yeah.
It's more close to comfort than I really want to admit.
Yep.
All right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw a scenario where they just blow them out the water from the get-go. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised.
Real quick, what would that be based on? What is the deciding factor that they could blow them out? This 2 things.
I think just the type of caliber team that Heard County is. When you watch them on film, they have so many guys like Jackson White and Max Lasser, those 2 guys on the defensive line. This is not linebackers. Defensive line had 7 tackles for loss in last week alone.
Yeah.
And South Atlanta's not they're not a really good team.
So if they come in locked in and they get to the grind, they get to the backfield, it's done.
But how does South Atlanta come out? Because South Atlanta is either going to come out really bad or really good.
Okay.
I think if they come out really good, it could be a lot closer. It could be a game that's a lot more too close for comfort for Heard County than they would like to admit or even realize.
Who do you have next?
Harrelson County.
Yep.
The Harrelson County Rebels, they made me
this
very...
was one of your... I don't want to use the word surprise.
Right.
You were very pleased with this.
They made me very happy when I saw that score, 48-14. They ran up the score on Mount Pisgah. Now they have Pike County. Pike County is another team. They're better. I don't know if they're better than Mount Pisgah, but this is another team that, maybe...
Pike County's making a little trek to come up here, too, to play this game. So
Right.
Yeah.
And but Harrelson County, I believe I think they lost. I think this was the game last year that they lost 21-20 against Pike County. So it was like a really close game last year. But obviously we saw 14-10 against Mount Pisgah, and they blew them out. So we'll start off with some key players. Starting out with one of my favorite players, just in general, Kent Boyd, 6'3", 185, junior, running back, wide receiver, returner.
Another standout from last week's Monday matchups.
He is
Make sure you check that out.
He's a do-it-all athlete. He's got to be the centerpiece for them. Paxton Ray, their senior quarterback, has got to be efficient. Weston Baker on that offensive line. Colton Hudson being a linebacker and tight end at 6'2". And then Caleb Hughes. Some guys I've already talked about. Pike County, though, they have some size. I didn't realize how much size they had a little bit. Obviously, sophomore quarterback Braden O'Connell's only 5'8", but he threw 5 touchdowns against Crawford County last week. Rocco Barbie, senior wide receiver and defensive back. He was a deep threat on offense, and he's a reliable two-way player. Senior running back Samaj Smith. He's a balanced runner and receiver. You got junior tight end, wide receiver, and linebacker Tucker Saporita, 6'4", 215. He's a big old boy.
Both sides of the ball.
He's a tight end mainly, but he's a big body target. He has obviously very big red zone value. Junior linebacker Maddox Storm, he had 12 tackles last week against Crawford County. And then senior defensive back Ethan Luna, he's only 5'6", but he had 2 interceptions last week against Crawford County, so he's a game changer in that secondary. We'll start off with the keys to success. Obviously, feed Kent Boyd early.
Yeah.
That's so obvious. I mean, it's so obvious. It's like holding your hand up in front of
Turn
your face.
him loose.
I mean, it's just like,
let's go.
Control the line. They got guys up on that line that can get it done. And I feel like that is kind of a common theme in all these games. You want to control the line of scrimmage. You want to decrease the turnovers. So I don't mean to keep bringing it up.
But who
it's
has
so
the
important.
ability to do that? That's the difference.
That's the key. That's the key right there. Yeah. Paxton Ray's decision-making is going to be a key to success. He's a senior, so he's obviously very seasoned. But he doesn't need to be flashy. Just protect the ball, avoid short field turnovers. Just get it done. That's all you ask. Because when you got a guy like Ethan Luna who had 2 interceptions last week, or you got a guy, you got guys like that, can't be flashy. Just go out there and get it done. And then disrupt the freshman quarterback. Obviously, Braden O'Connell, he lit up Crawford County. 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's kind of sad for Crawford County.
I think I can watch some highlights on that.
But Harrelson's defensive front, they got to pressure him. Pike County, they got to air it out. He threw for 240 and 5 touchdowns last week. And against a Harrelson County defense, let's say they're struggling, Pike County is going to test them. I mean, they're going to test them with guys like Barbie, Smith, and Saporita. And Saporita 6'4", 215, so he's a big old boy.
I wouldn't doubt if they go deep. I mean, just
maybe. Spread the ball, obviously. They have a lot of guys that we've mentioned that are just weapons. turnovers and field position. Ethan Luna had 2 interceptions. Keelan Yates, a sophomore, I believe. Actually, he might be a freshman. But he's a guy that I haven't mentioned, but he had 5 pass breakups last week, so he's gotten his hands dirty. They're playmakers. They're flipping the field with takeaways. And then defensive front's got to hold up. You got size on that defensive line. You got Godfrey Mahone, Wright, Hudson, other guys on that Pike County D line. They had one guy, I didn't write him down. I really don't know why I didn't write him down. 6'5", plays linebacker and offensive line. Plays linebacker and offensive line. So he also kind of comes off that end too, but he's big. He's a big old boy. Yeah, I think he's only a junior.
That's not normal. So
no. Some additional notes here. Harrelson's X factor. I think their X factor is going to be their ability to establish the run and control time of possession. Obviously, I think if Boyd gets going, it's going to be a long night for the Pike County Pirates. I believe that's what their mascot is, the Pirates.
We'll check it.
Pike County's X factor, I think their secondary is going to be the X factor. Can they get turnovers? Can they make plays? Or are they going to have Kent Boyd just all over them and in that end zone? And another thing, this is kind of new, I wrote intangibles. Harrelson is desperate to keep winning because last year they went 1-9.
1-9.
They had a 9-game losing streak. They just got their first taste of win since last year. Almost about a whole year since they've won, so they're desperate to keep that winning streak alive. But Pike has momentum from a dominant opener, so motivation is going to play a factor here. This one, I have Harrelson County winning 28-14. I think it's going to be a pretty balanced game. I think it's going to be a pretty balanced game for the Rebels. I hope they win, but I see them going 2-0, which would be groundbreaking because I don't remember the last time we went 2-0. Central Lions. Now, disclaimer. Well, I'm not going to say that yet because I don't know what you have planned for me. But Central, they're taking on Oxford, Alabama. The Oxford, I believe they're the Yellow Jackets.
Another border war.
They are the number 9 team in Alabama right now. They're the top 10 team in Alabama. This is Central's.
This one has me a little nervous.
This one might not only be their toughest non-region game. It might be their toughest game of the whole regular season. Yeah. For Central, obviously, you got Jonas Walton, 4-star running back, J.R. Harris, quarterback. You got 3-star sophomore running back, younger brother Jace Walton. He gives him that 1-2 punch. Junior wide receiver and defensive back Jake Ivester, who had a 39-yard touchdown reception on offense and had an interception on defense last week. And then junior defensive back Tyson Rochester, he's their best tackler in secondary. For Oxford, they just got a star-studded lineup. First, we start off with 6'2", 230-pound, 3-star senior linebacker and South Carolina commit, Keenan Britt. And by the way, this is Oxford's first game of the season. This is their season opener.
Oh, they're fresh.
This is their home opener. They're coming off of a scrimmage. So Central already has a game in the books. Oxford, this is how they open the season. So this is like a Carrollton Woodward Academy from last year. This is how big that game is for both of these teams. Jalen Taylor, 6'1", 185, 3-star senior wide receiver and Marshall commit. And I saw some clips when Oxford came to Carrollton and in the indoor facility, and they were going, and he was kind of cooking our defensive back a little bit. Obviously, they were probably some of the younger guys, but he's a crispy route runner. Caleb Wynn, 3-star senior running back and South Alabama commit. He's a consistent workhorse. Bryson Sanderson, 6'5", 295, 3-star junior. I think he plays interior line. You got Jackson Elston, 6'6", 320, plays tackle. Just a massive O-line right there. And then you got Maddox Mims, sophomore quarterback, only 6', 160. He's a young quarterback. It's his first start, by the way. Isn't that crazy? This is his first start, and it's gonna be against Central at home. I don't know if he's related to Mason Mims. I would think that that's his older brother, but Mason Mims was the quarterback last year for Oxford, senior. And he's obviously now at Louisville, but now Maddox Mims having to step up, and this is a very good test for him.
I forgot that he was at Louisville.
Right. Key success for Central, established the run early. Really not much to say about that. It's just pretty self-explanatory. But they also got another guy, not only the Walton brothers, but they got Zaylen Person, who also kind of came in there last week and got on the board against Spalding. Quarterback efficiency, J.R. Harris, he's got to replicate that Week 1 performance. He threw for 196 yards, 3 touchdowns, completed 67% of his passes, and no turnovers. So against a linebacking duo like Keenan Britt and Jaius Fleming, who I haven't mentioned, They thrive on forcing mistakes, so he's got to be mistake-free. I think he can do it too. Defensive discipline, Oxford's Jalen Taylor is a true deep threat. Caleb Wynn is a balanced running back. So Central's defensive backs, they got to limit explosive plays. And then the trench battle, you got 3-star sophomore offensive tackle Sam Walker, who actually just got rated, so congratulations, Sam. You also got guys like Ben Hobb, Damon Finley, Tay Crowder. I mean, these guys up front, they have size, so winning that line of scrimmage against their D-line is going to be huge. And then on the defensive side of the ball, being able to go up against those big 6'5", 6'6" guys like Sanderson and Elston, you got to be able to win. You got to be able to get past them, and offensively, you got to be able to hold them. For Oxford, you got to stop the Walton brothers. I mean, that's priority number one right there. That is, if you can't do that, you might as well kiss the game goodbye, because they're going to be all over you, whether it's on the ground, in the air, returning on kick returns and punt returns. I mean, forcing third and long could be key. So for Oxford, obviously, number one, stop the Walton brothers.
Absolutely.
That's number one priority. If you can't do that, I mean, might as well just sit down.
That's going to be a difficult task all night long.
Yeah, well, depends. If they had the guys to shut them down, can they? That's a good 1-2 punch. It's not like this is just one guy. Like last year, it was just, well, not last year, but let's say, I mean, even last year, Jace was very limited in touches. So last year, it was pretty just Jonas the whole time. And Central was leading most of the game last year. They only ended up losing that last part of the game. So, but another thing for Oxford, you got to exploit that secondary. Honestly, Central's secondary is probably, in my opinion, one of the weakest parts of their team. So if you can exploit that, and they have Jalen Taylor, amongst other guys on their offense who can do that, that's going to be pretty easy. Can Maddox Mims get it to him? We'll see. Balanced offense, obviously the rushing ability of Caleb Wynn there's no question about his running ability. Maddox Mims' short passing is going to be key. Line control, obviously, we've talked about that. Some additional notes, I think Central's X factor is going to be how well their young secondary handles Oxford's passing attack, and I cannot stress that enough. If they cannot cover these guys, they're not going to win this game. They're not. You can't win a game against guys who are nationally rated guys offensively. Oxford's X factor is going to be the quarterback play. This is another one I can't stress enough. Maddox Mims, if you play mistake free, you get it done. You connect on the passes you got to connect on. Now, obviously, you can only do so much as your offensive line lets you and your receivers let you. But if he can just do what he needs to do to get it done, they're good. Now, if he's not doing what he's needed to do, and he's off his game, or he's rattled, or he's nervous, or they're shutting him down, that's gonna be a long night offensively for Oxford.
I think the rest of the team will feed off of them. Wouldn't you agree with that? I mean,
right. And he's got to be a leader, but being a sophomore, it's kind of hard to be a leader sometimes, especially when this is your first game starting. But style clash, and again, they figured that out in the offseason, I'm sure. Style clash, Central will want to pound the rock, control time of possession. Oxford thrives on explosive plays. You could kind of say that for Central as well. They thrive off of explosive plays too, so it's kind of goes both ways. And then intangibles, Oxford has size advantage up front, but Central brings depth at skill positions like running back and wide receiver. So they have a dual threat passing game with Harris, because Harris is very mobile as well. Don't forget that, because if you forget that, you're going to have a long night too.
And there's so many threats on that team.
Now this one, I have Oxford winning 27-17.
That hurts my heart, Mason.
27-17.
Oh.
And I know y'all might say you hate on Central.
Is it because you're a Carrollton student?
I'm not
why?
gonna. See, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, you had Central. You only had Central by 2 last week, and now you have them losing by 10. It's nothing against the Central Lions. Right. I could dog on the Villa Rica Wildcats too, but I'm not gonna. So Oxford, I think they win by 10, 27-17. Right. I mean, that's just my genuine prediction.
But I would say though, if I could get a seat in that stadium this week, that's where you need to be. If you're a Central fan, please.
Yeah,
go and show up.
Make the trip to Oxford.
Yeah.
Make the trip.
Yeah.
They need it. They need it. They need all the support they can get.
They're gonna have to.
Oh, my favorite game of the week, the game that I will be attending, the Columbia Eagles taking on the Carrollton Trojans.
Now, this was an easy one for them last year. I don't expect much from this game.
Carrollton coming off of a
But it'd be fun. It'd be good practice. It'd be almost like a scrimmage. But it'll give them some opportunities for even the secondary and maybe even the third string to be able to come in and get some reps.
Carrollton coming off of a very impressive win, might I say, against the Woodward Academy War
But
Eagles.
Mason, it's still the penalties.
I agree.
Penalties.
I agree.
Penalties.
Yes. Well, actually, I will say we did.
If
not
I could
have
give a
that many
penalty award, it's Carrollton.
we did not have that many penalties last week.
Not this time.
Well, I'm telling you,
All
last
right.
week we did not have that many penalties.
We'll see if they can control
Not as much
that.
as we've seen in the past.
Right.
Columbia. One thing I will say about Columbia, they're up in Decatur, and they're actually they won their first region title last year in a long time. They play a very, very difficult non-region schedule. They play teams like Cartersville, Carrollton, Kell. I mean, just extremely difficult.
They're not afraid.
Non-region, but their region is awful, and they win their region. They're also up there near Cedar Grove. I don't know if y'all know where that is or even what that is. Cedar Grove was actually really good a couple years ago. Their coach obviously left, and they haven't been the same. But I think Columbia's been getting some of those Cedar Grove players. That's what I'm going to speculate. But it's neither here nor there of my business. For Columbia, their key players, Czar Daniels. I like this name. C-Z-A-R, Czar, like a Russian czar. Czar Daniels, 6'2", 175, junior quarterback. He's got to protect the ball and extend those drives. Demarion, I'm going to say Demarion. Demarion Davis, 6', 160, sophomore wide receiver. He's explosive. He's their go-to. I think he's going to be their go-to receiver. Andre Jones, 6'2", 250, senior defensive end. Last week against Cartersville, and they lost to Cartersville 44-0, by the way, so they didn't dominate at all. But even though that happened, he had 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. So he's got to disrupt that Carrollton backfield if they want a chance of being in this game. Mike Hosley, 6'1", 210, senior linebacker, had 8 tackles last week. He's their defensive leader. And then Malik Gates, 6', 170, senior defensive back. He's their secondary anchor against Carrollton's pretty elite wide receiver room. Carrollton, I'm just going to go through these.
That's going to be my favorite matchup right there.
Well, you're going to like what I'm about to say because
Okay,
I'm mentioning a guy. I'm not mentioning Cam Woods, so I don't want to get your hopes up.
God, Mason, why is it so difficult for you? Folks, I don't know what it is. We said hater earlier. I don't think it's hate.
Okay.
I just think, why can't you give him some love?
Because he had 9 carries for 49 yards. That's not impressive. Sure, he looked impressive.
They
but
have so
I
many.
don't care.
How many guys?
The stat sheet wasn't impressive to me.
If he was their
that's all
only
I'm gonna
running
say.
back, I'd get that.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Ryan Mosley, 4-star senior wide receiver, 3 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Chef's kiss. Just beautiful performance by him.
Yep.
CJ Cypher, he makes the list. He makes the list after
Now
not
we're
making
talking.
it last year.
I like CJ.
He completed 8 of 12 passes for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a 138.2 QBR. He's only a freshman. He's gonna carve up. I think he's gonna carve up that Columbia secondary.
Ooh, I
think
like what I'm hearing.
C.J. Gamble, Caden Spratling, that linebacker duo, just elite. Tyler Boyd, he had a big game against Wilbur Academy. He had a blocked punt that ended up being a touchdown.
That was embarrassing.
He had a pick. There was a tip ball that he took to the house on a pick.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
felt bad for the kicker.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you're a
He
kicker.
didn't help himself.
I don't know how you're a kicker and you
He was
whiffed
trying
the
to
kick.
trying to get the ball away from him and missed it
Well,
totally. And
Zakai Helton played both sides of the ball this past week, a little more than you see usually. Yeah. So I liked that a lot. He had a forced fumble.
You're gonna need that
actually.
in the end of the season, that's for sure.
Yeah. So keys to success for Columbia: protect the quarterback. Obviously, he struggled against Cartersville. Only completed.
Do you really think there's some keys to success in this
Yes.
game?
Yes,
You
of
think
course.
they actually have a chance?
There's always a key to success.
I like the I like your positivity. They probably do too.
Sports is the most unpredictable
need
thing
it.
you can encounter.
I'm just
They could come out there and whoop Carrollton. Carrollton could come out there and beat them 63-0. I don't know.
Okay, well, what's the winnings if they do that? I will. No.
Well, we're not betting. This is not. This betting culture is not good.
Good.
Daniel struggled against Cartersville. Only completed 15 of 28 passes for 169 yards, threw 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Had a 42.1 QBR. And so facing guys like Spratling and Hilton and even D.A. Logan, who I haven't mentioned, I mean, that's a tall order already. So you're going to want some short throws, some quick slants, some screens because you can't take forever for the play to develop because they're going to be in that backfield all over you.
Yep.
Established rhythm with wide receivers early. Demarion Davis had 5 receptions for 74 yards last week. He's their best playmaker. They can get him on quick passes, jet sweeps, whatever. Give him some spark. Defensive discipline versus the speed. Carrollton's offense thrives on explosive plays. Obviously, Cam Wood has a lot of speed. So defense backs like Malik Gates and Rashad Silver, they got to avoid giving up big verticals to our wide receivers, especially Ryan Mosley. And then you got to win the turnover battle. Realistically, Columbia is not going to out-talent Carrollton. I think we all know that. I think they know that. So they're going to need some takeaways. They're going to need some forced fumbles, some blocked kicks, some interceptions, anything that they can get to have a fighting chance.
As long as Carrollton doesn't play sloppy, we're good.
For Carrollton, air it out with your elite wide receivers. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Ryan Mosley, Peyton Zachary, I mean, they're always going to be brought up. They're mismatches. And then you got Carrollton's quarterback duo of Mason Holtzclaw and C.J. Cypher, and they should look deep early. And I think the interesting thing is who's going to be the starter. We saw C.J. Starter start the game off against Woodward Academy.
That was a big surprise for me. You mentioned that in the Monday show. Go back and listen to that because it was good comments on that.
2, overwhelm in the trenches. The offensive line is led by guys like 5-star. Congratulations, Quelly. 5-star sophomore offensive tackle. Quelly
I think
Fielder.
you're Quelly's biggest fan.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to glaze him or anything, but, he's a 5-star. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I mean, he should get that recognition. He's very good. Shout out to Mateo Wells as well. Because I saw him. That was corny. But I saw him in the Trojan store picking up blackout shirts for his parents.
Blackout this week for a Carrollton game. That's actually for a good cause. So playing for purpose, competing for a cause. My friend Denise Shackelford at Giving Hearts organization, she actually helps people that are the hungry here in our communities, and so she's partnering with Perry and Law Group. So they're providing those shirts. Go buy and get your shirt for Blackout Week this week.
Yeah, but other guys like that on the offensive line, they're going to be facing a smaller defensive line. So when you can establish a run with one of your favorite players, if not your favorite player, Cam Wood,
you
got to be able to set up. You got to be able to give him some lanes, and that can also set up play action, which is very crucial. Defense, pressure, and create chaos. Spratling had 2 sacks last week.
That's the only mention for Cam Wood? This is all he gets?
Yeah.
A few minutes?
Yeah.
Cam Wood, I'm going to have a whole special show just for you, and then we're going to leave Mason out of that one. We'll find somebody else to sit in for him that can give you all the commentary you deserve. All right, back to you.
Well, maybe me not.
I think you should interview him. Maybe go do a personal interview with Cam Ward. I think you're going to be like, you know what? I'm really impressed.
Maybe
he hadn't shown me anything yet, but I get it. But come on.
Well, maybe by me not mentioning him, it motivates him to play even better.
Ooh.
Did you ever think about that?
Cam, if you're listening in.
Nah, he doesn't need my motivation.
That's your challenge.
He doesn't need my motivation.
Nah, he's going to run all of
it. But then guys like Spratling, who had 2 sacks, you have D.A. Logan. I mean, they're gonna collapse that pocket, and they gotta. And when you force a quarterback into throws, specifically Zar Daniels, who's coming off of 2 interceptions thrown, when you hurry them into throws, equals turnovers. So there you go. And then special teams weapon. Carrollton shows depth on special teams. They showed it this past week. They had 2 block. They had a block punt.
So much quickness.
They had a block punt. They had one where he mishandled the snap and whiffed the kick, and that was a touchdown.
Man, I thought I was watching some of those guys and I'm going to give a shout out to LSU, but I thought I was watching Harold Perkins a couple times. Right. No, look, I mean, inches away from getting some of those kicks. Get back there, gentlemen. You got to get back there. But
they showed that they were dominant not only on offense and defense, but also in the special teams phase of the game, which is very important. We saw that against Parker, Alabama last year, where they just couldn't do anything without getting blocked last year for our special teams.
Which has been a strength for us for a while, and we need to continue that.
Right. So Carrollton's advantage, obviously depth, the offensive and defensive line, multiple D1 talents at skill positions, specifically wide receiver, disruptive defense. I mean, the list goes on and on. Columbia's chance. Now, here it is. If Daniels can limit turnovers, and if Davis creates big plays, maybe they score twice.
Okay.
That's their chance.
No, I'll give you that.
But I think the reality is Carrollton's speed, their physicality,
too much.
Just their playmakers, they're going to overwhelm them quickly. I expect a running clock by the second.
You can't stop that.
I expect a running clock by the second half.
Okay.
So Carrollton.
Look, last week at halftime, it was 48-7.
48-14 at halftime. They scored right at the end. But I have Carrollton winning 52-7.
With was there starters in that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a fluke.
But I have Carrollton winning 52-7. So there you go for that. Ooh, a team that we haven't even touched on this season. The Bremen Blue Devils. Coming off of a bye week, week 1. Coach Russell, why do y'all do that? Why do you do that?
Week 1.
Why do you do that?
Like, everybody's excited about the
Can't
first
give your
game.
guys
I'm sure there's a reason.
You can't give your guys a
No,
break
there's a reason.
later on in the season. You
There's
got to
a
give
reason.
them a break week 1.
There's a reason.
You had to recover from Mount Zion, putting on the butt whooping to Mount Zion. No offense to Mount Zion fans. But I guess they had
The
to.
scrimmage?
I guess you had to give them a break from whooping up on them so bad.
Yeah, that is kind of unique, first games. All right.
But yeah, for Bremen, for Jordan, if you don't know, Jordan is like the worst team in 2A. Like, they're just awful. But I have to give them something. So Jamard Crocker, 5'9", senior running back and linebacker. He's a veteran presence, most reliable offensive weapon. Dedrick Xavier, 6'2", 225, junior and defensive lineman. He's gonna be tested by that Bremen offensive line. Dontrell Wright, he's their sophomore quarterback. He's young. He's got to avoid turnovers, give guys like Gavin Wilton a chance to get the ball. 5'8", 210-pound senior defensive lineman and also long snapper Joseph Lee. He provides toughness inside. You can't let Bremen's run game get going. And then Javon Carson, 5'7", 175, senior linebacker and running back. He's got to play both ways, which is tough. Bremen, Justin Faulkner, 6'1", 175, senior wide receiver and defensive back. He's the playmaker. He's the star of the team, in my opinion, at least. He's committed to Northern Illinois, so congratulations to Justin on that. 2 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles last year, and according to Bremen's stats on Max Preps, they didn't have all the games on there, which is unfortunate. AJ Edmerson, 6'1", 285, junior defensive tackle. Reminds me of Mike Thomas for Carrollton, just the size, I mean. He's the anchor on that defensive line. Eli Brock, 6'3", 195, junior quarterback, had to come in as a sophomore and be the starting quarterback after the unfortunate injury to Carson Kimball last year. But he has great size. Bryson Jenkins, 6'4", 295, junior offensive lineman. Great size for an interior lineman. He plays guard. 6 foot, 200-pound senior linebacker Chase Palmer. He's the senior leader on that defense. 6 foot, 180, senior linebacker. Also plays safety and defensive end. Ryder Haynes. He's a versatile defender. And then 6'3", 195, junior safety and linebacker Thacker Dudley. That's an interesting name, Thacker Dudley. Big body safety. He can support the run, cover, passing threats. He can really do it all in the backfield. I'm going to kind of get through these quickly. Keys to success for Jordan: limit turnovers, establish the run early. Obviously, you got guys like Jamar Crocker and Javon Carson who are going to be the guys that you're going to want to establish the run early. Tackle in space. Bremen has some bigger, faster, stronger athletes than Jordan. So if you're missing open field tackles, it's already gonna be a long night. If you're missing open field tackles, it's just gonna be like a.
I hate to say this, but I saw that last week, even in the Carrollton game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one, it kind of ties into Clarkston and as well. You touched on it earlier. You got to play with pride. I mean, you're coming in. You know you're probably not gonna win this game. You know you're a heavy underdog. Got to come in and play with some pride.
You got to come in with your head up.
Yep.
Yep.
And so their best chance is to come in, play loose, play aggressive, and just
Have fun.
take shots when you can.
Let's go.
For Bremen, they're going to need to set the tone early. Fast starts, going to break their confidence, so that's what you want. You got to lean on your size. You got great size on that offensive and defensive line to dominate the trenches. Utilize playmakers like Justin Faulkner. He's like the X factor. He's like the Ethan Tisdale of Heard County, but for Bremen.
I would agree with that.
And then stay sharp. You want to still make sure that you're fine-tuning your execution even in a cupcake game, because later down the road when you're playing Bowden, when you're playing Rabun County, when you're playing these teams in non-region who are, I mean, even in region, but especially these non-region games that are coming up that are going to be tough, you want to make sure that you don't just have this game where you're just kind of going out there and putting your third string out there and saying, have fun with it, and who cares if they make a mistake or who not. Or like Coach Russell said, sitting on the sideline building turf mounds.
Turf mounds. That was,
you don't want to be doing
that.
That
was from media days. That was one of my favorite.
Don't be
quotes
doing
of
that.
the night. Yeah.
Don't be doing that, Blue Devils.
Right.
You on that
I was
sideline,
like,
you got to
did
be
he
paying
just say
attention.
Turf? Yeah.
But some other thing, X Factor, Jordan's quarterback against Bremen's secondary is going to be key for Jordan. Jordan's front seven against Bremen's offensive line is going to be where the game's decided, essentially. And then Justin Faulkner's impact is going to be really the main thing there. It's a clear mismatch, I think. I mean, Bremen has the size, athletes, and depth, and Jordan has struggled to compete against even lower-rated opponents. And in past years. So I think Bremen wins 56-0. I think it's a pretty blowout game for them. Cupcake.
Okay. You're saying 0.
56-0. They blow them out. I don't think Bremen's defense is going to give up. I mean, they're that bad. I mean, you got to really think about it. Jordan is that bad. Like, I don't even think they can beat their freshman team.
Monday, we'll see how close he came.
And then a team that I was thoroughly disappointed with this past week, and I think a lot of people were surprised. 26-0 against Fellowship. They lost. The Bowden Red Devils. They went from the number 1 team to now the number 4.
Three-peat. Starting out
Well, I will say this.
Game 1. I thought I was watching LSU Game 1 the last 4 years.
I will say this. I was talking to Coach Larry Evans. Shout out to Coach. And he did open my eyes to something. They've lost their openers for the past couple of years. Last year they lost against Fellowship Christian.
Yes.
I believe the first year they won. The first year they started the three-peat, they lost their home opener, and then I know they went on to lose against Central. Maybe that was the year before last, but they've lost. They're like LSU. They lose their season openers. They've been losing their season openers.
We don't have to bring LSU into this.
Yeah, well,
it's gonna be different this year.
We kind of do.
That's what we say every year.
That's what Bowden said.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been losing their openers, so it's nothing different. But you go from the number 1 team to the number 4 in 1 week. And that's where they're at now, but they're taking on a Macon County team who is not good. So it should be pretty good for Bowden coming here. Bowden, obviously, key players, Caden Prothro, Josh Hopkins, a new name, Lucky Bailey, had 10 tackles last week.
Going back
as a
to
junior.
Prothro, right? I got to stop you right there.
He had a quiet
Most
week 1.
Underwhelming player last week.
Two
Game 1.
2 receptions for 10 yards.
I need big things out of him this week.
Right. And then Jonah Wilson, another guy who was just really quiet last week, didn't do a whole lot. For Macon County, they have Jakevion Parker, 5'10", 205, 3-star junior running back. Now, this is the bright light of that Macon County team. This is their best weapon, their best player. He's going to be carrying a heavy load, obviously, but he is the bright spot of that team. And I've seen some of his film, and I like him a lot. Kamaj Mitchell, kind of undersized, 5'9", 160, junior quarterback. He's a wild card. I think if he can protect the ball and hit a couple big throws, hangs around. But he's definitely a wild card. Juwan Westbury, 5'11", 315, junior center and defensive lineman. He's an anchor in the trenches, but he's undersized against that Bowden defensive line height-wise. And then DJ McKenzie, sophomore safety. He's got to keep Bowden's receivers in check and prevent explosive touchdowns. Final thoughts for this. Bowden has the advantage. They have size in the trenches. They have elite athletes. They have the home field edge because this is their home opener. Now, obviously, kind of said the same thing against Fellowship Christian, but Fellowship Christian is not Macon County. Macon County is not Fellowship Christian. So, Macon County's chance, pound the ball with Parker, keep it close, force turnovers, but really that's all they can do. So I think the reality here is Bowden's depth and physicality is going to overwhelm them from the second quarter on. Give me Bowden 42-6.
42-6. All right, let's see how that comes out when we come back on the Monday matchup show. Now, look, we've been going at this, and that's a lot of great coverage and a lot of good preview. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll go into what we call Blitz, and that should be fun.
Yeah.
Be right back. All right. Welcome back to the show. We're going to go into what we call Blitz. I had fun with this last week. I hope you did. But I'm going to go throw some things at you, just like Blitz would be coming on defense on the offense. Look, we're just going to throw it out there and see what happens, right? So just whatever comes to mind, that's what I'm going to give to you. Yeah.
Get her going.
So this week's watch list.
In terms of what?
Player, game, team.
Central.
And then we talked about some X factors earlier. What's the one X factor that stands out?
Oof.
I stumped you?
That's a tough
Come
one,
on.
man.
Well, think about that one.
X factor.
Yep.
Man.
What about, that's
too many.
What about that moment? That's just embarrassing. Last week's games.
Oh, Lord. You don't even want me to say. Bowden.
Bowden.
I
thought you were going to say the kicker that just tried to, against Carrollton, that just tried, Woodward Academy, that he tried to get it out of, make sure it was not going to go, and they got it in the end zone.
Yeah, because,
he didn't even get close to trying to protect that ball.
I want y'all to think about this in your heads. If you're a kicker, okay, you mess up the snap, okay, sure. Everybody doesn't, you didn't catch it, you dropped it.
Teach us something, Mason.
How are you a kicker and you whiff the kick? It's on the
I
ground,
didn't
and
think about that.
you look down.
I didn't think about that.
You look down, and you try to kick the ball, and you
my
miss it
gosh.
completely, and then it gets recovered for a touchdown. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I know you were nervous because they were getting back to you.
I just
but
shook my head. I was like, I don't even know
you
what's happening
cannot
right now.
be a kicker and can't
Oh, I
kick
felt
the ball.
So bad. Yeah, he just had.
That's
his
like saying you're a
hands on
receiver.
his
And
helmet. He was walking off. He was mad.
That's
at
like saying
himself.
you're a receiver and you can't catch the ball.
Yeah, the coach didn't even have to
Come
say
on now.
anything. He was so mad at himself. What about injury list? We got anybody on injury list from first games?
I will no, but I do have one. I haven't
Anybody banged
heard
up
any
you saw?
updates, but Darrell McFadden's
Yeah.
freshman for Carrollton. I know
Yeah.
in the scrimmage he was on the sideline in a boot. This
Yeah.
past week
I
he
saw that
actually
this
wasn't in a boot, so he was
Yeah.
actually walking around, but he
Okay.
was not dressed out. So if as soon as he can get on the field is going to be better for Carrollton because I'm excited to see what he can do because I've seen some good things film wise. In practice,
Yeah.
and being a freshman and he's undersized,
he
he's
wants
only
to be back.
he's only around that 5'5", 5'7" range. So I want to see him. I want to see what he can do.
All right, let's go back to your X factor. Anything come to mind?
X Factor. I'm gonna have to say. I mean, I don't want to be repetitive or anything, but I'm gonna have to say X Factor for Villa Rica is gonna be Matthew Eubanks, their quarterback.
Okay.
What can he do? I want to see it.
And then you kind of said this earlier, and a couple times, maybe two different teams. I have to go back and look at it. But dynamic duo. Who's this? I mean, either running back,
Ooh.
quarterback.
Oh, there's too many.
Quarterback,
There's
receiver.
so many. There's so many, but I'm gonna go.
You only get one. Who comes to mind? Who's the one that stands out the most? Dynamic duo. Come on, Mason.
Holtzclaw and Cypher.
Oh, you're
Holtzclaw
pairing up
and
two
Cypher.
quarterbacks, which is unique.
They're a duo.
Teams don't usually have that.
They're a duo.
We are fortunate to
That's-
have that.
and
I
that's
say
kind of-
we because
That's kind of biased
Mason's
because
in Carrollton, but-
well, but I'm gonna be biased for a second.
But no other team really has that, so that we can.
Not around here.
I mean, maybe you could step off the sideline to fill in, but yeah, not that you can interchange in
It's-
design plays.
it's
for
unorthodox.
That
it's
I won't say
unorthodox.
equal talent because I think I've still got favorites.
I like it though. Excites me.
All right, well that.
Well, I want to say my game of the week. I don't think I've said it.
Oh, no,
I
we
think
haven't talked
I
about
think
that.
I was gonna slip up earlier.
Yeah.
And say it, and then I said,
You caught yourself.
I'm because I didn't know if you were gonna bring it up in Blitz or not. My game of the week. I know I've said Heard County is gonna be close. I know I said Central was gonna be close. I know I said Villa Rica was gonna be close. There's probably some
I
other
think I
ones
know
I'm
what you're
missing.
going to say. Go ahead.
But my game of the week is gonna be the Central Lions and the Oxford Yellow Jackets. That is my game of the week
one
right
that
there.
I'm feeling the most energy. I mean, that's going to be an electric.
I feel the
place
most hype
if
around
they
it.
both show up. We don't know what Central team's going to show up on this game, but if they show up strong
Well,
and they actually
Well, another thing is
get locked in, that's going to be a fight.
Another thing is we don't know what Oxford team's going to show up because they don't have their quarterback from last year, and this is their first game of the season.
I'm hoping
so-
that all of the team is fed by what is that top of the river restaurant, and they just get fat and lazy.
Oh man!
Oh my!
Shout out to
gosh.
Shout out to that restaurant.
Yeah, that's great food, but I just hope that they get man. Just,
but yeah, that's my
and
that's
it's like
my
they just come off sluggish.
that is my game of the week. Now it was close between that. and
Stay
Villa-
up late on Thursday night, team. Something. we need Central Lions to come
That-
in there and just rock.
My
ball.
decision was close between them and Villa Rica because I know Villa Rica. This is a tough game for them. This is it's a meaningful game for them. They ended up they won pretty bigly. I mean, largely. Good lord, I'm not even speaking English. They won largely on the road last year against Northgate, but they have them this week, and Northgate coming off of an
I don't know.
upset. But I feel the most hype in it.
I feel like they're
like you
still
said,
trying
the
to figure
energy
it out.
around Central.
I feel like they're still trying to figure it out. I
Well,
don't know
I'm
why
excited.
that is.
For the record, I wish every team around here the best of luck. Another thing, this
Always.
is going to seem unorthodox as well, but Hapeville Charter, I wish you the best too, because it was like last year when we played against Cambridge in the scrimmage. I cheered for Cambridge the whole season. They ended up doing very, very well for themselves.
Yeah, that scrimmage against Carrollton was not good
So
as a performance, but they actually
dominated.
showed-
They
showed us
dominated.
differently the rest of the season.
And hey Central,
So it was just that good of a Carrollton team, obviously,
Well,
because
look.
they went to state. So
hey Central, you remember Cambridge from last year in the second round?
Ooh,
who put
see.
you out your misery and y'all were at home?
Why?
But
Why'd you
I
go
shouldn't.
there,
I shouldn't have
Mason?
done that. I shouldn't have done
All
that.
right.
But yeah, I'm cheering for Hapeville Charter. They actually did. I don't know if it was because we were bad
All
or
right, well,
whatever.
Maybe
But
you can come back and report something good
Yeah.
on them. Yeah, even though they're not in a region. So everybody, do us a favor. Obviously, be following us on social media, but we will be back on Monday night for
sure.
your recap.
Yep.
We'll see how that went, and
Hopefully everybody wins.
yeah. All right. Well, that's been a great preview week. Of course, I look forward to all these games. And then we'll be back on Monday for Mason's matchups. We'll see how he did on his predictions. But then we'll get to celebrate some teams. We'll still be shaking our heads at maybe some others. I don't know.